Hello, welcome to Opally Hour. So today I am hoping that we're going to finish the Sailing Memory Book-Nook from CuteFun. This, as far as we got, I'm going to pop these two together. They want them at a slight angle, again this angling business. And then we're going to start popping things into the actual frame itself of the Book-Nook. So we are moving right along. We do have to go back and do one of the stages because I wanted it to really have a good set. So this is what we have to do here. I'm going to pop this one side and get everything else going for you. And it dried up really nice, so you can see it doesn't have, doesn't show that it was missing one of the circles either. Alrighty, speak to you soon. Alrighty, so what we're going to do is take all these brackets off. Like I said, with these you just press this button and famous last words, but it should just slide off. And then undo these clamps. That looks okay, so those ones are off. And then I have 4 left on this one. This clamp keeps losing its end here. That's rather annoying because I really haven't had them that long. And this one, and then this one. And I said we'd come back to this because this one slots in down here, these two and those two here. So I'm going to get those put in first, and we put it around that way so it's facing this way like this. So let me get that glued and ready to go, and I'm hoping that this fits after all the performance that I had with it. I'll get it as good as I can, let's put it that way. It may not be perfect. I have my hesitations as always as to whether it will or won't work, but let's cross our little fingers. So just make sure that you put it around the right way, and it's going to go in here and here. And I am really hoping and praying it's going to go in well. And I'm probably going to get the little gosh, whatever they're called, basically the pick, to get this in order because it is not wanting to go in. So let's see. And you're not going to see too much now, and that's because I'm trying to see what I am doing. Okay, got that side in, so it's just this other side that we're working on. Okay, I'm going to lie this down now and try and get this in. This has been a bit of a, for me it's been a bit of a pain. I'm sure it's not meant to. And I don't want the whole video being about me trying to put this in, that's for sure. Okay, it is lined up, so it should go. This one's going in, but not this one. Alright, leave this with me 1 second. Right, and finally I got it in, and it required more brute force than I could muster at that moment. So I have done that, and now I'm going to put just a little bit of glue here and hold that for a moment or two in order for that to take against there. So you can see that's where we want it to be. And this also has a ridge, and I guess that's for the other light that's going to go there on the roof ceiling. Roof ceiling. Need to press this down a tiny bit more. It's not 100% in. There we go. Alright, so I'm just going to wait a second for this to take. I don't really, I guess I do. I guess I could use a clamp while we do that. Might just about fit. Oh, just a tiny bit too not quite big enough. I don't really have anything bigger to go there either. So I'll just hold it for a sec. I guess I could put one here instead. Maybe that would be better. Let's get that bit smaller, bit bigger. And if I do it this way around and make sure that these are all down, which of course they moved again, out, does not want to stay down. There we go. Can give that a minute or two, find out where my puppy has gone, because it's disappeared on me. I like to keep an eye on where she is. Okay, I'll be right back. Alright, puppy found, no big deal. She wasn't too far. She actually came in just after I said I was going to check her out. Alright, what we have next is adding a few bits and pieces in here. So I have got them all ready to go. What we have is we have a gramophone. Let's see if you can see that. A little gramophone. Then we have a ship, which is quite a bit bigger. Have an hourglass, so that's kind of cool. And then we have some pictures to go on the wall. I've left these attached because they've got numbers underneath, and I know the other one that I cut out is number 4, but because I don't have a good memory, if I leave the numbers on, then I can use them as I go. And then this picture here as well. So I can't remember what this is meant to go on, to be honest with you. But anyway, first things first, we put in a couple of little shelves here. And these are going somewhere towards the top here. And the shelf will go on first, like here and here. So I have 2 of those. And then the ornaments on afterwards. And then we will worry about the picture. So let's see. So this has it that the shelf itself is got a thicker and a thinner end. So the thicker end goes towards the wall, and the thinner end away from it. I should have filled in my glue as well. And it does have marks on here where to go. So I'm just making sure that that is within them, which it wasn't. So there we go. And then get the other one ready as well. That goes in here too. I guess, you know, the other thing I could do is probably give it a little bit of glue on that side for this one. I didn't on the other one, and I'm not going to take it off to do that. And again, just going to check that that's within the lines, which it is. And give that 1 second. And take this off. She says, famous last words. Yeah, they're really easy to use, I say. They really are. I'm just a little bit of a wuss. My hands don't always do what I want them to do. And I can see that this hasn't overly glued well to this either. So I'm just going to put some glue in there and then clean that up. Let's get something to do that with. It's like the cotton bud there just wants to spread it all around rather than mopping it up. Okay, and again we are going to use a clamp for this for the moment. A little bit bigger. Gosh. Now of course it's way too big. Right, so let's get this, make sure it's down enough. Right, I'm going to give that a minute, but while that's doing that, we can put these things on the shelf because they're not weight bearing, they're just little pieces of wood. So the top one has the, sorry, puppy, going crazy. It has a right side and a wrong side. The right side is what you want showing, so I'm just going to put this on top of the shelf, which isn't anywhere particular, so I'm guessing it probably could go against the wall quite nicely. I'm sorry, she's playing. Alright, she's just playing with a ball, which of course is very important, and she's telling it what for right now. And now she's got zoomies. She went out for a lovely walk today, and she's doing really well at hill training, and so that's kind of cool. And so yes, really has had exercise, but she's still consuming, so what can I say? When you think it's safe to do a video, this is what you get. And make sure that that's straight. You are being a silly girl. Yes, she is. Right, and that's as straight as we're going to get. And then we are going to put on the neck. No, I'm so small facing you than I. I'm going to put these two on. Just go over these pictures a moment. So let's see which one goes on first. The first one on the inside is going to be the gramophone. So I'm going to do that to the back of them. Pop that in there. And then we have the hourglass. Pretty sure it's the same one way or another. Actually, it's not. So we are going to have it with more at the bottom, because if you think of it, if it had sat there for a while, that's the way it would have been, the sand towards the bottom. So those are in. Right, just going to give this a moment to set up, which has now moved away from the other bit that I didn't want. Now let's try. I just want to make sure that that's down again. And it's kind of going to get covered up anyway with the roof, but still. And I'm still not overly happy with this and how it's looking, so that's where I'd get a splinter, you know. Okay, let's try this one more time. Then I've just moved that ship out the way. I just clicked it with my finger there. That's okay because it's wood glue. It takes a moment to get that sorted. Okay, alright, let's get that ship like that. Okay. Yeah, quite happy with that. It looks all within the lines, so that looks good. I have my pin for my glue. Right, and then next, and hopefully it's not going to interfere too much with the top part, let me turn the page, because now it's all about fitting things on, I think. Or not. Yeah, we got a few more pieces to put on, so let's see what we got here. Got a clock to make, but I don't think that's next. Okay, we have this to do, have a picture to do, we have those pictures to do. I see what we're doing. Okay, so let's see. Don't know what I've done with that frame. Probably put it somewhere very helpful. Maybe I don't have it ready. All right, bear with me. All right, I found what I was looking for. So I was looking for this little picture here. So let me pop and put that together. Let me just get this out of the way, which is fine because that gives it a few more minutes to get ready. And I'm going to put this on. It does matter, it's kind of got, I mean, it doesn't matter which way it goes, it's got the same design on top and bottom from what I can tell. So the biggest way which will make a difference is the way this one's up, and I would think that that would be the top. So let me pop on a bit of Beacon 3-in-1. It's absolutely tipping it down here, so I apologise if you can hear the rain. That's what you get for being in England. That happens. And of course it's starting to get a bit darker now as well. But determined to get this done today. So just centre that and check it on the other side, and I'm happy with that. And now we're going to get these pieces on, including these pictures. I'm just going to see in the book where they are. Okay, alright. Okay. Alright. And then we have the two boxes that I built that I put out of the way, which we are also going to be putting on. So let's get that going. Okay, see if we can take this off. I'm just going to go and put another light on. Okay, I have taken that off now, so that works, and now we can put in the pieces, but I will put this a little bit up on an angle. So this one here is the bigger piece is going to go towards the top, and this just basically fits kind of in the middle of the floor here. So I'm going to get that on, and that kind of dictates where a lot of this other stuff is going to go, and there isn't really a guideline for this. So as long as I can get my glue to work, which it wants to be problematic, we should be good to go. But it's taken a moment then. Put some on the floor and pop that right down the corner there, which now you can see. And then on top of there will be, I'm just kind of resting this, so bear that in mind. On top of that are going to be these pictures, and as it happens, it doesn't really matter where their placement is. I thought it may, but it does not, so we can get that, just put it up in any order, doesn't matter. And the trash can bin with the maps will also go on this little shelf here, so I will get that on because that's wood. And I'm just going to make sure that that seam from the paper is towards the back, so this kind of goes there. I'm just going to put it in a little bit, and then the little posters, which you've got all different types of ships from what I can tell, so just kind of is like against the wall. And then above that will be the shelf, so I just want to make sure that they are probably up the right way. This one's got writing on, so I'm going to assume the writing goes towards the bottom. And then the last one also has writing on. I have no idea what they're saying, my eyes aren't that good, and I'm not even sure that it would be in English anyway. And I'm putting that one back there as well, so it kind of looks like they're pinned onto the wall. Followed by our little shelf, make sure I get the right side here to put it on. And there is a line for this to go in, which is here, just a bit above. And I'm going to put some on here too. And make sure that's straight. That doesn't look straight for you, so something's gone a bit wrong. illustrator. Let me have a quick look. Oh, I see. Okay. Alright, I'm happier with that. Still kind of looks crooked, doesn't it, really? Let me push this side down a bit. You would have thought that the lantern there would be quite straight. So I'm just going to look at that again. Alright, I'm happy-ish with that. And then last but not least on this page will be the big photograph that we just put together, which slots in here, which is interesting because it doesn't feel like it's going to fit with those books being in that place too. That's pretty tight fit in there. So I'm going to just drop this shelf down a little bit to what they say so that it all fits in. And try and make it as square as I can. What do you think? Kind of looks okay, doesn't it? The shelf doesn't look square to me. But then if I make the shelf look square, then the lantern looks off. Okay, bearing in mind you're going to look from it from this end, I'm sure it's fine. Okay, and then last but not least on this particular section is our little treasure chests, and those are just going to go on the floor in front here, and it kind of doesn't matter where, really. Well, it appears not to matter where. I guess you kind of want the edge there to show towards the outside. Let me have a look where we are, see if that's looking about right. So I'm going to let all that dry and get ready for the next section. Actually, I think we can just move on, let's put it that way, because the next piece we're going to put in is the decorative piece just on here. Which is going to glue to the bottom, and it's got one tab in here that we're going to be using, and all the rest then will be held together, and I'm going to get clamps out, and we will get that setting while we get on with the next thing, which is actually to build a clock and almost like a bookcase. And although they get you to put the bookcase in before putting the bits and pieces on it, if this isn't ready, we can probably put the bits and pieces on it, and I'm not going to worry about doing it a little bit out of order. So you just want to make sure on this that this piece here is at the top, that the, what's it called, steering wheel, I'm sure it's got a different name, I'll think of it, maybe the ship's wheel anyway, type thing. And make sure that that's in the right spot. So let's pop this in here, and this, you know, doesn't go where I thought it was going to go. It actually goes on top of the floor, not in front of it. So let's get some glue on here. It was not quite fitting on the right height there, so, and now it will. And I'm glad that I'm putting this in now actually, rather than waiting for everything to dry, because if those shelves or anything needs moving over, this is the time. And that's it. So I'm going to get these to join. Down the bottom here there's a gap, so I'm going to get that to join there. Just put some clips on there to do that. Got to be careful because it is quite decorative as I break a piece off. I'm going to use a smaller one, which isn't so crazy, and then I'll mend that piece in a second. There we go. That works. We can use the bigger piece on here. These really are like really forceful and that sort of thing, but okay. And I'm gonna put that to one side and find this little piece here and glue that on, and hopefully nobody will know any different other than everyone who's watching this video. So maybe no one will notice. So, and it's in two pieces, which definitely means it's almost totally not repairable. So I will do the best that I can do. I'll show you in a sec. Alrighty, that's kind of mended. All I've done is put on a tiny piece there, and I think that will be okay. I do have one tiny piece over, I'm not quite sure where that is, possibly in front there, but I might just give it a little bit of the paint and hopefully you won't even see it, right? Okay, like I say, you know, I'm here to show the errors as well as the pluses, so you know, I wish I was perfect on that one, but I'm not. I don't know if I'd want to be perfect actually, but right, off to make a little clock, and this one should be quite straightforward. You're putting one piece on top of another piece, so how it's not really difficult, is it? Alright, let's get you in a bit more would be an idea, wouldn't it? Got you quite a way out there. Guess I should have put more wood glue in. I think I said that before and then I promptly forgot all about it. And just a little bit glue on there. This is to give it a nice 3D effect. Just make sure it's all lined up. And this, I will use my bulldog clips, and because I have some which are already kind of like opened where they've been used, like on the moon in house on the walls, like that one is quite a good one, and that one is kind of ruined, so the ones which are, I would class as not holding their grip anymore, I'm going to use for here. And all I'm going to use is a tiny piece of greaseproof paper, parchment paper, and just hold it together just so it has a really good fasten. And we're not going to be using this just yet, so it's going to have a moment to dry. And put that here, and I'm going to put two on this side just to make sure it's done. And all I'm doing that for is so that it doesn't ruin the bulldog clips, although they're kind of a little ruined. Anyway, I'm going to put that to one side as well in order to dry. You can go and sit there with the main book-nook. And next we are going to make like a bookshelf, basically. I'm just going to put this over here. I have kept that tiny piece in case I decide that yes, I definitely have an issue and I need to fix it. So we have two top pieces which are like this, and you want the colour facing the same way. So I'm just going to make sure I can see the book okay. And so, and that has in between it the one with the other hole in, and it looks like the longer area here, this side, I don't know if you could see that very well. Let's go this way. The longer side here will be on the upper part, so let's just make sure that goes in the right way. I really do need to put glue in here, so I'm going to glue both sides ready and put one on the upper one, pop that in there and pop it into the bottom like so. Nothing major about that, quite straightforward, other than making sure they face both the same way, which I promptly went and not did. Oh, and the other thing is to make sure that this one is the longer end here, so you've got the longer length where the hole is here. I'm using my direction on the camera again, but that's the longer length and that's the shorter, so you just want to make sure that those are matching and that they are both pointing upwards. So So this is up, that's up. Next, to stabilize it, fortunately, we are going to put in another shelf, which is going to go on the longer points here. So I'm going to get that in. And then we will get it stable in a minute, I hope. And this goes in here. And again, with the coloured side pointing upwards. Okay, so you can't see for looking almost. And this will dry clear, and because I'm not going to be painting over, I'm not too worried if there's a bit of spillage. Then we will be using, I'm going to turn this over so it looks that way, which is kind of how the picture is. And we are going to be using one of these. We have one for each side, and one has 3 holes in, 1, 2, 3 down here, and one has 2. So one's going to go this side and this one's going to go that side. So this one, it holds like that, facing this way. I'm going to put in there. So let me just get some glue on this again. And the back of these, actually I'm just going to put a little bit in the hole there. And the easiest way is probably to just line it all up to go on in there, like so. That one's just slightly off, there we go. So that is in and pointing the way it should be. And then we are going to, so that looks like that. Yep, it looks the same, that's always good. And then we're going to put this one on top and put the other side on. And the other side is going to have the brown pointing inwards. And this one has the brown on the top pointing upwards. So I'm going to put it on both of these like this, and then I'm going to put some on each of the nodes and some in the holes and some in there. Clear that off, don't need that, all those. And then just line all this up and put it together, which fortunately shouldn't be terrible to do. Okay, and that looks until I go and pick it up to show you guys. Anyway, that looks how the picture is, so that's the main thing there. And then what we're going to do is do gosh, will you stay on a second just until I move you at least? Alright, so there's that. Moving right along, we now are getting to this point, and we are putting one on top of the other, so very straightforward. So it makes a panel. Just going to put a little bit on here. Goes in here, like so. Just going to get my ruler to make sure that it is all square. Whoops, as I knock it out of being pretty square as it was. Little dog hair, let me get rid of that. And then this sticks right on the front here, so this should make sure it's nice and square. This will go on. Oh, it looks like it's going to go that way. Oh, it's going in between. Beg your pardon, let me take that off. Okay, just bear with me. Okay, so what we need to do is put this, it's the same both ways, so it doesn't matter, just on the inside. So I'm going to turn this up the other way and just put a little bit of glue down both sides, and you want it flat with the front, so it's just upside down, pushing it flat with the front, make sure it's even at the bottom. The easiest way is to put it on your board, assuming you have a cutting board, and using it that way. And by doing this, you can see, or I can see, that mine isn't even square. And now is the time to square it up, and hopefully it hasn't dried too much. Really, for some reason, I'm having real trouble with this. I hope it's because it's not warped. Maybe it's because I'm putting pressure in all the wrong places, I'm guessing. Probably more to do with that than anything. And I will use one of that. I probably don't need to use a clamp to hold this together. Or maybe I do. Just try and line it up as best you can. Okay, and then this will fit on here. So this I'm going to put on. I'm just going to have some on the underneath. I made a mess everywhere on there. Now we're going to have some down here. And this pops in here. I'm going to just take this off with some tissue because it's quite new. And get my cotton buds. That's not going to work on this case. Get one of my purple ones. And it stuck to me, so it came straight away. Okay. Alright, and then lastly for this little piece, it's this tiny one which again is going to go on the inside, so just going to put this here, put a little bit on the ends, and put it in here like so. And have it reasonably flat. Maybe I should have put this before I put the other stuff on. Well, I guess you wouldn't. Well, you probably could put that on first while it was all flat, but I didn't. And it probably wouldn't have made a difference because you're still would have had a ridge from the ends. Okay, quite happy with that. So while the other thing's still drying, I am actually going to put the things that belong on this shelving unit, which is, let's have a look. It is our it's not binocular, it is a telescope. Gosh, words are hard, you know. A couple of books that we have over, 3 of them actually, not a couple, 3. We have a bottle there, we have a pipe going to go on, and we are having a picture that we haven't made yet which will also go on, and I just need to find the picture for that. And that actually has a backing, and I know I haven't pulled the back in, so let me go and get that. Okay, and let me make sure that that's alright actually. And it does have a little backing on, so what we do is we put our picture on the back of here, which is this tiny one here. Let's get that roughly in position. Give that a press down. Sorry, alarms. And then this backing is so that it stands upright. So I'm going to put a tiny bit of glue on the back of this. And the bigger end of this, because you can see it's like this, like a little triangle, the bigger end will go on the back of the photograph, and the smaller end will go on the shelf. And you want the colour end to be on the left of it. So it'll be something like that, so that it stands upwards or collapses. Okay, I'm going to give that a moment for it to set, and we'll put the other things on in the meantime. I just want to make sure it's reasonably straight, which it is incredibly crooked right now. And it's drying quite quick because it's paper, I guess. I say, that doesn't want to stay at all. Okay. Right, okay, onward. Right, so I'm going to put, before I get on and do anything else to the actual main part, I'm going to put these things in, and I'm going to put them towards the front. So this one that goes in here. And what I want to do is just put it towards the front there, or somewhere in between. As you can see, that doesn't want to stay, which is fine. I almost want to have something which will lift it up, don't we, really? And then we're going to have it all on there. I wonder if I've got anything. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to use the other side, not mine, to be roughly use it as a template and put some paper on it so that it doesn't get all gluified. All I'm doing is I'm using it as a guide to have these things facing outwards like this, but that it's on the shelf and it's towards the edge. Next is the telescope, and that goes on the top. And I'm going to buy tweezers to do that, so it turns over. And I suppose I should put this a bit closer to the out the way, a bit closer to the middle there, so that you can actually see what the heck I'm doing. And then we have a captain's hat, which is this shelf here. So I'm just kind of putting them towards the front of these shelves, so when I pick this up it will be shelf, and this is the captain's hat, and we want that in there. So we're looking at bakers basically having the tops, the back of these pictures to myself, and that telescope doesn't want to stay, so I'm going to have to probably put more glue on it in reality. Give it a moment, and if it doesn't take, then I will put some more on. And in this bottom one is going to be a pipe. which is going to be like this. You know, I'm going to have a look at the other pipe because there was two of them, and it might be that we want it facing the other way. Well, after we pull in the other one, it doesn't make any difference anyway because they are both facing the same way. So, which is kind of weird now because according to the picture it's not like that. This is where I find I'm putting them all on the wrong way when I look. Just doing this on a wing and a prayer, right? Just making sure that, yeah, wow. Well, the principle was there. Let's try this again. Works all well and good until I mess it up. Okay, and we will put a little bit more on this telescope of the parts that are going to actually touch. And then on the bottom piece we will put that frame we just made and the books. Okay, give that a moment. So the books will go on, let me reverse this in my head, this side. I could just stick them together, but we're not going to. And none of the books are particularly that colourful, so, and you want it showing the outer edge, prettier edge like that, so that when we turn it over it's all facing the right way. So you've got the book cover end, and that's what you want to be showing. So it kind of has to be the opposite here. They don't fit very well, I have to be honest. And I'm probably going to have to push these through in reality because you're probably going to want this back area to be even. And then lastly but not least is going to be our picture. So I'm going to turn these over. Which now they are roughly in the right place. Everything else is anyway. I'm going to put this last book in. And now I'm looking at it, I knew my head would do me injustice. Because they should be on this side. I don't suppose it really matters, but it's what it is. In fact, everything's like the opposite side, but that isn't my doing necessarily, for a change. Okay, and then lastly is this little picture which we want facing this way and only just fits in. Wow, I'm glad they get it fitting in because I can't get it fitting in at all. So I'll do it a totally different way. I'm going to put it in here first. Then I'm going to put this in. Put some on there, and I notice now I've hit with my hand the other piece at the bottom there. Patience, 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 over patience. Oh gosh. Alright, I'm going to put this on here then. just a bit higher up. You come back out. Didn't tell you you could move, so I'm not sure why you did. And let's try this again. Can you hear me losing patience with this? There we go. Stay there. Like anything, where there's a will, there's a way. I may not do it strictly by the book, but it does kind of work. Well, kind of, because it's meant to be at an angle, so still doesn't really work, does it? Oh wow, these books are all weirdy too. Right, how can it be that this one shelf gives me more hassle than any of the rest of it put together? Okay. Wow, it's got so much glue in there too. You'd think that I had the wrong picture, but I know I don't. Just feels like it's too big for it. I'm even checking the stuff that I've got left to do, if any of that would fit, and it's no. I am having a bit of trouble, and I notice that this telescope needs to be around the other way. See if I can get it while it's still a little bit on the tacky side. And that's the problem with me doing it back to front, of course, is that I can't, it's very hard for me to imagine what it's like the other way around, really. If in doubt, put more glue on, right? And this is where the people who use super glue either trust their work better than I do, which is entirely possible, or they are screwed if it goes wrong. Could be either way. So according to the picture, these pipes face the other way, but there's no way to do that because both the pipes that I have would do the same. So I'm going to put this on ready for the books, but we are going to be concentrating on this picture first. So what we want is it to be looking forward slightly. Maybe something like that. So it's looking a little bit on the forward side, which looks like that for you. And then I'm going to put this backing on. Like so. That works. And now I'm going to put these three books who have nicely stuck together for me, which is kind of fine, in here. like so. And then just sort out this bottom piece again. And I'm going to clamp it because it really wants to move. Let's have this a bit closer. I don't know how much you saw of that, but you get the principle of what I'm doing, I'm sure. Alrighty, and that is going to sit to one side now. That's kind of all done, so I'm going to take this, put that pipe over there because I don't think I need it. I'm going to put this in a different spot, and we are going to be working on this. The other side, the Sailing Memories. Let me put the camera a little bit out so you can see, and we're going to be working on this side here. So we have several pictures to do for the wall, and a gun, and a round picture, and a square one here. So first things first, and also we are going to need that clock, which is over here. So first things first, let's get the pictures on the frames. And this frame's just a circle. I don't think it really overly matters which way. Trying to look at that to see if it matters. I don't think so. And this one I won't be putting on yet. I'm going to put the other one, this one, on first. So and this is the smaller square ship. This one goes at the top. I'll see if there's any markings on here, which evidently there's meant to be. So when I see them, is that one? I think it is, yes. Wow, this was a hard marking for me to see. Maybe it's getting a bit darker in here. All that rain. And this does matter which way on it went. So just when I got the picture in straight, and the pictures of a ship. Okay, and next up we have the round one going to go on, and that goes, let's see if I can see where it goes. It goes underneath. Just really hard for me to see where the lines are for things. Let me see if I can get it reflecting a bit. I cannot. Oh, I see, that's the square one. Oh, I see it. Well, that's a bit off centre, isn't it? I guess it's meant to be. I don't want them in a straight line, obviously. So look straight to you, and that looks a bit straighter. And then we put this picture on next. And it's going to go one way or the other, basically. And let's line that up. And we want it we say. I will make sure that I put more glue in soon. And this one goes here. And according to the line, that's roughly where it goes. And then, lastly, alright, sorry about that, let's carry this on. So, then, gonna put the gun here. I really need to do this glue. I don't like that it's not all lined up more square, but it's not. That is straight, so how they have it. Yes, checking myself here. And then we have our clock, which should be nicely sorted now. Get that out of the way. And that's going to go here. Let's see if I can see if there's a marking. Gosh, these markings are so light, they're really hard for me to see. So that's one edge here. One edge here. So we know that's the edges. Want to make sure we get it the right way up. So plenty of glue on here. And as long as we get it as close as possible, so you want it finishing before the side there. Make sure it doesn't go over because the wall's going to go here, and that it's straight. So I'm just going to look at that from my view and make sure it measures about the same. So here it measures just under the 2 centimeters and the same. So we are okay. So this is this done. So we're going to move on, and next it's going to talk about the bookcase, which we've already done. No, it's not. Next we are going to put this on the Book-Nook itself. I'm going to put the other side on. So let's get all this off. Making lots of noise there, sorry about that. Don't want to be doing things like that. And we are going to glue down the bottom here, all on these sides, every one of them. And I definitely should be putting more glue in this bottle. Kind of don't want to, you know, you get towards the end of a model and it's like, ah, oh, that's so annoying. But then you want it to hold and not be all loose and what have you. So I'm just going to make sure that I particularly got the tabs here. Let me get this out of the way for a moment. And we've got lots of edges we can do. And we got the bottom piece here. I mean, none of this is really going to be that visible. We can do these. I think this bottle is going to need cleaning like anything else. It's coming out the fastening area and on the back side of that. Right, let's see if we can get that lined up. Lovely. Alrighty. And put the pin in to save it. This will be the side in, and then we got the bookcase to put in. Sort out the wiring, and that, my dear folks, will pretty much be that. And this is reasonably lining up. A little bit off on here, and a little bit off on there. There we go. And you see, opposite way to what I went, of course. There we go, just satisfying that click. And make sure that all the edges are in are nice and tight, because I don't really have clamps big enough for this. But what I do have clamps big enough for is the top and the bottom. But before I do that, I am going to put it in that bookcase. So it goes, let's see here, it goes in here. So let me get something for this whole thing to lean on. In fact, if I put this on here, well, let's put it on here. Because the bookcase is going to go on the inside here. So you can see that. You can't see very well. I'll try and get it that it's the right angle for you. It's going to go in this little area by the clock towards the bottom. So let's take the clamps off of here. We will be using this clamp to hold it all together in a moment. And it will go on the inside here. So more wood glue. And it's just going to need it on the bottom and the back. And the top. Top's very important. And it doesn't take long. Once the wood glue starts to set, then it, you know, it's pretty solid, to be honest with you. I just need to see what I'm doing a sec, folks. So you're not going to see a darn thing right now, but it just fits in between. Literally fits in between there, and you can see it on the wall there. There you go. And clear up any spillage of glue. And that goes there. And then the last little bit is towards the top here. So similar to what we put on this other side is a strip. And I saw that strip a moment ago. So you can find out, oh, there it is, it's hiding underneath the glue. And that goes between the two pieces there. And then we're just down to wiring, which might take a moment. And we are well over time, aren't we? I do apologise. So the idea is that they're meant to be roughly an hour long, but that is not the case on this, and I think it's because it's the end of it. And I'm trying to get it done, and it didn't seem worth going over to yet another one. So I'm going to clamp it all together now. We've got that in. Get it all clamped up and leave it to dry. Right, while that's setting up, let's make a start on the ceiling piece. So we need to have one of these and one of these, and these are not glued. And okay, so the round one is glued, but this one, the L-shaped one, is not glued. So we just need that glued here. So I just want a tiny bit because we don't want it touching the other one. And we want it the other way round anyway. So just a tiny bit of glue on here. When I can get any out. It's always the way when you're coming towards the end of these that it takes a bit longer than you anticipate. So this will go here and this will go through, so just making sure that that works. And I'm probably going to let this dry before I put this in so that it doesn't get stuck and get clipped on there. Right, so give that a moment to set up. So that's fine, and that's fine. And then this will go on it as well, but we'll do that in a moment. And then on this piece, we will do that and get that ready as well to go. And this has like a metal bracket here. Basically it's got like crocodile teeth, so you put that in there and put that through so that it's on the outside, then clip it like this so it stays in, and this will cover the battery box. That's the idea of this. So the nice thing with the wiring here, other than getting it in spot in a moment, that you don't have to, is plug and play, so I'm not really messing too much with the wires, other than a little bit of Bondic on the roof area that I'm going to get ready to go in a moment. So this really has gone over, so I really do apologise. I want to try and keep it within the hour. If I'd realised, maybe I should have done another day, but I didn't want to waste that. Alright, so all I'm going to do is pop this through now. And you put this on, and you don't glue this either, so it moves like this, and that will hold the battery compartment in place. And turn it over, and we are going to be doing the wiring with the Bondic. So bear with me, I'm going to get these clamps off. Trying to save as much time here as possible because I know I've gone over and I dislike this idea. So I have my Bondic here. I think you've probably seen me, if you've seen any of my other videos, seen me use that in the past. So this you want on the inside, like here, it's going to go here. And we want to run both these wires along the bottom. So the first one, it doesn't matter which one, I don't think. One you want to weld here, so that it's right near here, and I'm going to pull that out as well so that it's nice and flat and make my life a bit easier. So I'm going to Bondic it here. Just making sure that that's what it wants me to do, and it does. Other wire really wants to get in the way. So all you're trying to do is make sure it's in the middle. And yeah, so give it a little bit of UV there, maybe a bit more. It's not quite dry. And the UV's come out the housing, which is fine, it's not a big deal. Okay. And then it's all falling apart now. Good times, I will fix that. Right, never had the Bondic break on me, but there you go. There's first for everything. And I am going to paste this here. And make sure that I get enough contact on here. I've never had my Bondic break on me, but hey ho, what do you do, right? And the only other thing I have just noticed is I need a piece of wood to go on here at the end here, so let me leave that for a second. Put you on pause. Alrighty, and this is E35, and this just glues on the end. Probably spent most of this video messing around with this glue because it's not got enough in it. Okay, and just put that on the end there like this. It's not going to be seen, and just bend the wire, the bulb basically up, so it's like this. And then we are going to paste that in place. So this little lever here is going to need to go back in, like it or like it not lever. You are going to go back in. And this will go like this. So I'm going to get that set and get this on, so hopefully it doesn't fall. as much as it says don't paste it, it'd be nicer if it wasn't so likely to fall off. Glue this in place and then it will be done. Then we just have the battery area to go on, which won't be stuck in, so it's just going to be placed in there along with the battery compartment, and we should be able to be done. Like so. Fits. I'm just going to say, and that fits nicely on there, as it didn't. Fits nicely. Okay. Okay, you can stay on now. Seriously not going to? Let's try that again. Alright. And then it falls off. Right, I'm going to bracket that for a moment or two and get it the other put the plug and play but into the battery compartment and show that to you, and then demonstrate it on, and we will call it a day. Alright, so I've got that clamp in, and turn this around so you can see. Just make sure I put this in the right way, which is the opposite way to how I want to put it, obviously. And then turn this on, and you can then see what it looks like. Let me zoom out a little bit. And that is, I mean, that really is quite pretty, isn't it? And you've got the light coming through that light at the back there, right back there, and you can see everything by the lights coming through. I mean, that really is quite pretty. You can see our bookcase there, and the other, oops, the other side, when I can angle this right, is here, and that really is very pretty. If I turn the light off, you can see quite the difference between it. I mean, it really does show to be very pretty. I mean, obviously I've still got clamps on there because it's not quite finished here. Right, and the only thing that I now have left to do is put the battery, turn it off, and pop it in here. A little battery area, and the nice thing is it's got this little pouch that will just fit in here nicely. Famous last words, it will, and then it just holds in there by this little thing here. It's not perfect, I mean, I can see that it would have problems, but generally this is how it will look without the brackets. And if I want to turn it on, just lift this pouch out, turn it on, and put the pouch back in, fasten it, and we can see how it all looks. Pretty, huh? I love the little cat actually at the window, is probably my favourite part of that. Like I say, a lot of these you have a lot of detail, but you're not going to see that much of it. But what we do see is very pretty. Alrighty, thank you very much for watching. Please feel free to comment or send me an email at opaleehour@outlook.com. And I will try and get back to you as soon as I can. Please click like and subscribe so you get informed of any new content. I am trying to upload daily. That may not continue that way always, but most of the time I am looking to do that. So if you would like to be informed of any time I upload any content, then please do that. Do, like I say, subscribe. And also, main thing, take care of yourselves, because you know you really do have to, and you really do matter in the world. So I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Bye bye now. Bye.